If there was ever the belief that the 3-year gap between Star Wars films after this year's Episode 9 would mean a slowdown in Star Wars content, yesterday was a fresh reminder that there'll be enough content coming outside of the films to properly sustain us all. Yesterday at New York Comic Con, the Lucasfilm Publishing panel announced a new wave of novels and comics that'll be coming after the rise of Skywalker, and chief among them was the announcement that we're going to be getting a brand new Thrawn trilogy beginning in May 2020. Known as the Ascendancy Trilogy, it will of course be written by Timothy Zahn and promises to serve as a prequel to Thrawn's current canon stories with the Empire, providing details into the origins of Thrawn and the Chiss Ascendancy within the unknown regions itself. I have to admit, the announcement took me by surprise initially, as I've been so completely focused on Thrawn's story in the post-Rebels period, I wasn't prepared for a prequel trilogy. But it does make perfect sense, and the trifecta of Thrawn, the Chiss Ascendancy, and the Unknown Regions already makes this one of my most anticipated Star Wars releases for next year. We still don't know much at this point unfortunately, other than the presence of Thrawn and the overall theme, but I do think that the current 3 canon Thrawn novels provide a lot of insights into what we might see in a Thrawn origin story. First, the current material aside, it'll be great to see Thrawn's rise and the beginning of his military career. The 2017 Thrawn novel showed us this from Thrawn's perspective in regard to his rise through the Imperial ranks, but this clearly wasn't Thrawn's first experience, already one of the, if not the best military mind in the Empire when he first arrived. I'm really hoping to get an outbound flight feel with these and more, seeing Thrawn not only in his early career with the Ascendancy, but Thrawn learning for the first time, rather than teaching an Eli Vanto or Karen Farrow. Given that we know the trilogy will focus on Thrawn in his early years directly within the Unknown Regions, it sounds like the perfect opportunity to expand upon Chiss and Ascendancy lore, providing numerous scenes of Thrawn's homeworld of Silla. And as we were speculating in yesterday's livestream, it's also a great opportunity to bring Thras, Thrawn's brother, back into canon. There's been no mention so far of Thras in canon, but this new trilogy is definitely a way to have more of our favorite Legends characters return. But when it comes to Chiss and Ascendancy stories, I'm looking forward to learning more about the political conflict that emerges within Chiss society that was alluded to in all 3 of the canon Thrawn novels. As Thrawn stated to Vader and alliances, there were stirrings of political conflict before he left for the Empire. But with the recent Thrawn Treason novel, we learn from Ar'alani that the situation is much worse, as she confirms the growing chaos in the Ascendancy threatens war, which could destroy it. I'm hoping this path towards chaos and civil war within the Chiss Ascendancy government, and more importantly, within its ruling families known as the Aristocra, is also a large part of the series. This would be a great way to build upon what we already know in canon, and possibly dive deeper into Chiss society. It would also make a Thrawn sequel trilogy very interesting as well, assuming Thrawn goes back to the Ascendancy after the Rebels series finale. Finally, I would love for the trilogy to look at the growing threats within the Unknown Regions. Evil that was so dangerous, Thrawn had no choice but to join the Empire so as to create an ally to help the Chiss defend against these threats. This information about the Unknown Regions itself was the basis for Thrawn's actions so far, so learning what Thrawn knows and why he fears these other entities in that part of the galaxy would be a great addition in my opinion. It would also provide excellent scenes in which to see Thrawn hone and perfect his skills in battle. While we've seen Thrawn go up against the Grisks and Rebels so far in canon, it'll be nice to see author Timothy Zahn have total freedom in this area, without limiting Thrawn's actions to fit the story as it currently exists and is known elsewhere in Star Wars canon. I just know that these are going to be 3 novels I'm going to love, so the announcement yesterday couldn't have been more welcomed. But the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy wasn't the only major announcement yesterday on the publishing side of things. There'll be a new Clone Wars anthology that'll feature a collection of short stories, and which sounds as though it might be tied into Season 7 of the Clone Wars TV series, which begins in February of next year. For fans of Charles Soule, writer of the recent 2017 Darth Vader comic, you'll be pleased to hear he'll be writing for the relaunch of the ongoing main Star Wars series. The series is set to take on the period between Episode 5 and Episode 6, which is perfect for me as this timeline needs some much needed stories to expand upon the current canon. Speaking of Vader comics, there'll also be a new Darth Vader comic series beginning February 2020, and like the relaunched Star Wars comic series, it'll focus on Vader's actions during the time period between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And all of that really only scratches the surface of publishing content we'll see over the next year, so we have lots to look forward to, including more speculation about Project Luminous in 2020, which now includes a great list of Star Wars authors attached to the secretive project. Please do not hesitate to let me know your thoughts and reaction to the new Thrawn trilogy in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and as always, may the Force be with you.